Hey, it's James, Father's Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. For those of you who haven't checked out my flow page yet, it's like a link tree. Go to the bio on Instagram or on TikTok and click the link that says flow page. In there, I have a section that says must see information. A bunch of free information there that every dad should know. And if you care about your kids, you'll look it up. If you don't care to put an all-out effort to learn everything that you need to know on your case, most dads, they're not even out to try and become an attorney or as smart as an attorney. But the ones who actually care about their kids enough to look up all the resources I have end up being just as smart as any other attorney they bump into. But it's not about that as much as, do you love your kids? And I'm not talking about sitting back and feel good about them and stuff. I'm talking about willing to go to war for your kids and set aside a year of your life, not partying, not going out, not hanging with your boys, not doing the fun stuff all the time, but going to work and eating and then spending all the time you can on your case. I got all kinds of people who call me up the night before hearing, hey, I really need to get a hold of you and stuff. I've been watching your videos for several months. Why are you calling me the night before trial, the night before hearing? Well, it's just a lot going on and it's a lot. And I'm in a hockey league and I'm doing this and that. So you don't give a shit about your kids. You care more about your little fun and convenience and your little downtime. You're in a war over your kids. So let me talk about proof that I'm not a con artist. I just got done talking about Steve Maeda. That guy may have some true things to say. And of course, every single father's rights group talks about the truth. They talk about how corrupt the system is, how crazy it is, and all these problems and this and that. And then they learn a few things in court and they go to court and lose and oh, I know a couple rules of the court system. Let me go and do a camp for men and teach them how to do this stuff. Well, if I learn how to play soccer and I play all summer long and I never score a goal and never get an assist and my team never wins, I can go out and talk to people about soccer and stuff like that, but I'm probably not the best candidate because I'm a loser. And a bunch of you guys out there will just follow anybody who sounds good for a minute. That's why I did a video on that Steve Maeda guy. He says some stuff that might be true, but the number one most important thing where I talk about how I won, the reason I won is because I didn't have an attorney. I learned how to fight the right way. Steve Maeda will tell you, do not go without an attorney. You can't. Maybe in rare situations you can, but the vast majority of guys need an attorney. So he's selling everybody down the river. He's being a house slave. So the reason you can know that I'm not a con artist is the same reason. It's the same evidence for why these people like Steve Maeda got hundreds of thousands of followers on YouTube and Dad Talk Today or the Father's Rights Movement. Because all these people are a bunch of whining, crying little sissies, and that's what everybody's attracted to. Because 99% of dads they don't want to fight in court. They don't care to fight. They want somebody to make them feel good about their whining, crying, and pissing and moaning, and it feels good to vent for a minute, but then you turn around and you got no power. Think about if you've seen Braveheart. Maybe I should do a video on that. I did a video on Saving Private Ryan with an analogy. Braveheart, William Wallace, he was like, oh my God, you guys, there's a band of us winning against England for our freedom in Ireland and the oppression and them trying to encroach. And all you guys want to do is sell out and appease them and surrender land. We're going to end up slaves. Don't you want freedom? It's going to cost us. Some people are going to die. It's going to take some effort. But if a few of us can win a battle here and there, if all of us would just band together, we could overthrow England or we could stand our ground and declare independence. There's a bunch of great warfare or family court war lessons in Braveheart when you watch it. When you watch these legal movies or you watch a show like a movie like Saving Private Ryan or Braveheart, or where somebody's trying to overcome an oppressor, there's a whole bunch of lessons in that. But you know what you see also? All the punk ass bitches off to the side who want to sell out and just negotiate with the other side. Just like the Saving Private Ryan example. The guy they negotiated and had pity on, they let him go and he turns around and kills one of them. This is war. William Wallace and Braveheart, all the aristocrats didn't want to go and fight. So they wanted to negotiate with Britain so they could have peace. But what kind of peace is it to have when you're a slave? When somebody runs and controls you and you don't have the freedom just to go and do what you want and live life the way you want? What kind of a freedom is it for you to go to mediation and sign away your rights at mediation and give the mother total control for the next 17 years until your 1-year-old turns 18? And she has sole decision making. You have every other weekend, or you have visitation as agreed upon by the parties, which is the dumbest thing your dumbass could ever do. And if you had half a brain that God gave a monkey, you could read that and say, wait, that means we both have to agree. That means if she doesn't agree, I don't get visitation. That means possibly I'll never get visitation. But most of you are such numbnuts, you don't want to even read what you're signing off on. And you don't need to be a legal scholar when you read it and it says she has sole decision making, that she gets to dictate what gender your kid is, whether they have this surgery, whether you're against vaccines or certain medical procedures, or whether or whatever. Whether you want to go to private or public school or homeschool, you have no say so. And you don't think for a second, how tormenting is that going to be when she gets to lord over me and control me through my kids? A lot of you dumbasses don't even think about that. And I'm calling you a dumbass because you need to wake the hell up off your stupid, out of your stupor. And here's where we get to why James is not a con artist. Some guys like Steve Maeda, they might say some things that are true, but then they'll say a total sellout thing like never get an attorney, and they're telling you to get an attorney. And you spend $100,000 on your court case and you still lose like Steve Maeda did. And Steve Maeda's got hundreds of thousands of followers. Or Dad Talk Today. He's got hundreds of thousands of followers because his fat, lazy, punk-ass, bitch-ass is sitting there crying and whining and this and that. He doesn't want one positive story on that. You know how I know that? Because I DM the guy and say, why don't you have a positive story of a guy winning in court? All you're doing is feeding the hopelessness. He blocked me. Bitch. Sellout, punk-ass, Mark bitch. And the fact that I'm coming on here and being honest like this will guarantee that I never get hundreds of thousands of followers. But I'd rather be honest and real about this war that you have to go through than to be a punk-ass sellout like all these other guys, Steve Maeda, Dad Talk Today, the 50-50 Dads guy, all the Father's Rights Movement idiots who are sitting there whining, crying, pissing and moaning. I've been watching it for 23 years. After I won, think about this. In 2001, I got full custody. I'm still out here telling dads, why aren't you doing contempt? I did contempt on my own. It was my idea. And I was like, this is obviously what I need to do. And you dumbasses are out here saying, I can't get the mother found in contempt because my attorney told me, and my attorney is my master. Even though I pay him $400 an hour, he gets to dictate to me what I do and what I don't do. And he's scared to fight. So I'm going to just sell out and be a little bitch to my kids. The only person that's available to save your kids from a narcissistic, psychotic, control freak mom, or in rare cases where the dad's that guy, is you. And you're being a punk-ass bitch sellout. And then you guys don't like it when I say that. So what do you call yourself when you just surrender and sign away your rights and give control to the narcissist? A lot of you stupid jackasses are out here saying the mom's mentally ill, she's crazy, she abused my kids, she lives with a pedophile. I want 50-50. What kind of freaking dumbass, punk-ass bitch retard are you to say I want my child to live with a pedophile or an abuser or a control freak 50% of the time? You're a sellout bitch and a coward. But see, instead of getting mad at me, why don't you just change your mind and grow some balls and learn how to fight? You don't even got to tell me that it hurt your feelings when I said that, or I'm calling you out. You don't even got to say. All you got to do is call and say, James, I'm ready to fight and go to war, and let's go. But I got dads who sit there and talk to me like, oh, I think you're wonderful. I talk about how great you are to everybody. Or the system is corrupt, 14th Amendment violation, this and that. And you're telling me all this bullshit I already know, and all you want to do is talk about that. And then you get mad, like, what do you want? Do you want to move forward? Do you want to get a consult? I don't want to sit around and bitch, cry, and piss and moan like all the other fruity little faggots doing it all day long. That's why we're getting nowhere, because all the bitch-ass faggots are sitting there spooning each other at the Father's Rights Movement meetings, doing nothing about this stuff. And I've been watching it for 23 years. And you guys are mad that I'm frustrated. You're frustrated and enraged about your one case. I'm frustrated and enraged about tens of millions of cases and all the punk-ass bitches who ain't doing anything about it. And the fact that I'm talking like this proves that I'm not a sellout. And I dare you to go look at my winning court orders on my Flow page. And I dare you to grow some balls. And I call people out for this. And I'm not politically correct. And I'm not charging as much as Judge Anthony does, even though I could sell on my services, but I don't. You know I'm not a hustler.